Welcome back again to Hungarian Kitchen. I have another family favorite recipe, and it's a pastry recipe, and it's called cottage cheese pie, Túrós Lepény. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start explaining what you need to put into the dough recipe. So what I've done is I've mixed the flour ingredients together, and what I have here is flour, baking powder, salt, and a grated rind of 1 lemon. So I put together that into a bowl, and I've mixed that together. So, and then I have, next step was to do the wet ingredient recipe, and with an electric hand mixer in a large bowl I combined butter, shortening, sour cream, sugar, vanilla, three whole eggs, and a grated rind of 1 lemon. So this would be the wet ingredients. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the dry ingredients to this recipe, and I'm going to start off mixing it together with a large spoon. So it's a lot easier if you start mixing it together not by hand but with a large spoon. So I'm going to continue doing that, and I'm going to make sure that as I'm stirring it together that I'm trying to get the flour in there, because I'm actually not kneading it right at the moment. And then of course I add some more flour to it, another spoonful of flour, and then I continue to do this. And then once I find that the dough is the right consistency for me to put my hands inside of the mixture, then I can start kneading it. And it's really important that you not over knead this dough. So you're going to gently knead it together with your hand. Now it's starting to get a little bit stiff. It's still a little bit too wet for you to go in there with your hands. So, and then I'm going to continue doing this until it's just the right consistency for me to start kneading it, and it's starting to look like I'm going to get ready to go in there with my hands. So I'm going to continue doing that until that gets the dough gets to the right consistency. So I'll be back to show you what this looks like. Welcome back again to Hungarian Kitchen. I've just put together some dough, and so I've mixed the flour, the baking powder, and the salt, and the grated rind of lemon, 1 lemon together, and then I used an electric hand mixer in a large bowl to combine the butter, shortening, sour cream, sugar, vanilla, 3 whole eggs, and grated rind of 1 lemon. And then what I did was gradually added the flour mixture to the butter mixture and gently kneaded it together. So what I'd like to show you is what the dough actually should look like when it's kneaded together, the consistency of it. So I'm just going to give, I've sort of saved a piece here for you, and this is what the consistency should look like. And what I did was I rolled it out on some parchment paper. I rolled it on the all around the perimeter, a little bit longer than the perimeter of the parchment paper. So I measured it to the size of my heat-resistant baking dish. So, and then once the dough was on the parchment paper, I lifted it up and I put it inside of the baking dish. And so what I did, and I'm just going to show you what I did with it. I had dough on there, and then I turned it over, and then I peeled it off the parchment paper, and then it ended up in the Pyrex dish. So it's actually really great tip, so that you get the exact size of your crust or your pastry for this pie. And then of course you can see that I've done that. I've put a little thumbprint along just to make it kind of fancy, a little bit fancy there. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over the ingredients with you for the cottage cheese sour cream filling. So I'm just going to bring over the bowl. I've got everything already mixed. So what I did was I had, and if you look at my ingredients, there's actually a recipe alongside with my video that you can kind of view the ingredients of the recipe, or you can go to the website and you can actually copy the actual recipe, print it out if you need to do that. So the filling is 500 milliliters of dry curd cottage cheese, and I had 500 milliliters of sour cream, and I used a 2% sour cream, and for the cottage cheese I used 2% cottage cheese also. So, and then I added 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, 3 tablespoons of vanilla, rind of 2 medium lemons, and 1 1/4 cup icing sugar. And then what I did was I separated the whole eggs, egg yolk and whites, in separate bowls. And so I'm just going to show you what this mixture looks like. And of course, what I did with the egg whites, I beat the egg whites until they were frothy and stiff, and then I folded them into the cottage cheese. Now I'm going to show you exactly how that's done. So you've got your egg white, and then what you do is you do an under-over action, and you see how sort of frothy the whole mixture looks like. Now I've done that before showing you this video, and I've kept it in the fridge so the ingredients stay cold. But this is what the filling looks like for this recipe, and that folding under action. So I've used a wooden spoon for this, and it's all in the instructions. Also, my written instructions are also there for you to view. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pour over, I'm just going to move this parchment paper over, and I'm going to pour over the sour cream mixture over the pastry. And I'm just going to show you what this looks like. So just pour it over. And I do say to evenly spread it over the mixture, the pastry, but just making sure that you've got an equal distribution of this cottage cheese mixture on the pastry, and it's going to bake in the oven. So I'm just going to make sure to take a spoon, and I'm going to make sure that it's equally distributed. On top of this pastry. So it's like a cottage cheese pie. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it into a 350 degree oven, preheated oven, for 25 minutes, and then I'm going to bring down the temperature to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and then I'm going to bake it for another additional 20 minutes. It's really important when you take it out of the oven that you cool it before you start slicing it. And you can slice it a large slice depending on the amount that whoever you're serving it to. And this is a fantastic dish that my mother used to bake for her guests, and even she would take it to work and bake it for the staff at her work site. And my grandmother, of course, baked it for her family too. It was a favorite dessert for Sunday, a Sunday dessert for after dinner. So what I'll do is I'll come back and I will show you what this great recipe looks like, fresh out of the oven. Welcome back again to Arinka's Kitchen. I had in the oven a pastry recipe called cottage cheese pie, Túrós Lepény. And so what I'd like to do is show you what this great recipe looks like coming out of the oven. So what I've done before cutting it, actually cutting a few slices, is to let it cool for about 30 minutes. It's really important that you do that, and use sort of like a butter knife to cut into it. let's say not a serrated knife, but a butter knife. And then if you have one of those cake sort of like ladles, then you can lift it out with that so that it comes out really nicely on your plate. So I'm going to show you what this great recipe looks like. And this is what the it's actually the cottage cheese pie looks like when you take it out of the oven. I've already cut some pieces. So what I'd like to do is show you what this looks like on a serving plate. So I've just cut out a piece for myself, and of course you can cut out larger pieces for your guests, depending on how much they want to be eating of this. So as you can see, the bottom part of this slice here is the pastry part, and then the top is actually the cottage cheese mixture. So I hope that you enjoy this family favorite recipe, serving this to your family and friends. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me at irenkaskitchen.com or Irene at irenkaskitchen.com. Until next time, bon appetit, jó étvágyat!